in a pocket dimension off of the southeastern coast of the Spine. Our party gathers after some months training in an extracurricular type of informal training, as they would sometimes meet Matazar, the headmaster, in various spires of magic across the academy. Skipping out on classes that they do not need to go to, they would then later meet up in the evenings or so here to train personally with various faculty members. After some time, Ty has spent various days either wandering the island or the academy grounds. Recently, Ty has been told of a spell that Smith was able to decipher from Selray's books. A spell that could get Ty back home, or at least where Ty would like to go. Ty spends an evening trying to figure out how to say goodbye to his friends, but a vision sort of interrupts that process. We meet Ty in his room with the others. It's late some evening. The aurora flickers and undulates above through a myriad of colors, and stars just pierce through the colorful clouds above. But they sit, they wait for what Ty has to say. What do you do?
All right. Thank you all for coming in.
What's going on?
It's no secret that I want to get out of here, you know. Don't want to spend any time with these wizards. Rather be useful elsewhere, but how long we been here? 3 months?
Give or take, yeah. That sounds about right. Well,
They said time was fucky, right?
yeah, 3 months here, but I have no idea how long we've been gone over there.
Yeah, something's been bugging me the whole time I was here. I tried to contact Lorcan a while ago, back by Flount, you know, when we came out of the tunnel.
Right, okay.
There was a point where I was thinking about this thing, what went down in Flount years ago. I was a boy. Red Devon was supposed to be fucking murdering one of your lot. Some fucking captain. He got drunk, didn't do the job, I had to do it. It was a fucking mess. Both of us got fucked up, barely made it out. Anyway, while I was thinking about it, I had the strangest sort of dreams that night. You remember when we were all having weird dreams? And then we'd put on the fucking crown or whatever the fuck it is. And they'd stop. In my dream, Lorcan, or at least something that was presenting himself as Lorcan, was screaming at me, why am I at Flount? What am I doing near Flount? I have no idea whether it was a dream, whether it was actually Lorcan, or whether it was some other bullshit like what happened with Tenno, you know?
Yeah, that was my first thought.
Didn't think much of it, you know? Fuck it. Who cares? Fuck 'em.
Wait, when did this happen?
Well, probably the week before we got here. Between Flount and this place. Around
Okay.
Beaton's Hollow. Anyway, like I said, I didn't really think much of it, you know? Doesn't matter. Who was screaming at me in that dream? Fuck 'em.
Yeah.
But then I thought I'd better check. I mean, if it is Lorcan, he's always had a way of being able to, you know, ding me in the head from afar. I've been halfway around the fucking world and I've fucking had him appear in my ear telling me where to go, what to do, you know? He's done it with all the others and all.
Yeah, but this is slightly different. It's a pocket dimension.
No, not while we're in here.
Oh, okay.
This was before we got here. So,
Right.
the spell that I can cast where I can speak into your mind, sometimes, and it's not always worked, but sometimes if I've ever needed to get in contact with him, I've sort of cast that spell. I usually just cast it upwards, you know? That particular night I cast it at the fucking moon. But I got no response from him. It's always a 50-50 shot anyway, and, you know, it's not like we're exactly on speaking terms.
Right.
So again, I didn't really think much of it. Anyway, we come here. Last 3 months have been boring as fucking piss. For me. Well, until a couple of hours ago, me and Smith had a little chin wag. He's got a spell. I might actually be able to get out. But that's not why I called you all here. I was looking out the window, looking up at the sky, and I sort of drifted off a bit, like asleep. I reckon it weren't asleep though. I had a sort of weird experience, like a dream, but I think maybe it's what was happening or has happened. Maybe it will happen. You know, what would you call that?
Premonition of sorts, maybe? Divination?
Premonition. Yes.
Anyway, I see myself in Lorcan's body in this fucking dream. You know, his fucking old hands, his weird fucking old man face in the mirror. He's on the longbow with buttocks and all them lot. Devon's there, one-eyed Bill. They went to some place called Hornlight. I think it's above the Spearway, somewhere way up north. Now, I don't know exactly why he was there. I think maybe they were trying to find like a new Galfish, like a base of operations to start again from. Start popping off at the Godking from, maybe. But it was weird, realistic. They had a bit of a trouble. What?
No, go on.
The trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Something on the land, like vines or something, was coming after him. I was only really seeing it from Lorcan's perspective, but he seemed to think it was something to do with maybe some witches, a briar coven. Yeah, I don't know either. I'm
Chet,
gonna
do you
go and have a word
remember?
with what?
Do I remember?
Do you remember that vision we had? Also of up north? A conversation between the general and someone, and they were talking about the...
Bits and pieces, yes.
It was similar. Like we were kind of looking through the eyes of someone else. And it felt very real.
Right. Like we were scrying, but the scry source was
Yes,
someone else.
but it was also up north. I just remember there being a lot of snow.
think maybe we should speak to Matazar about it.
Yeah,
See if he
that's
knows
a good
anything
idea.
about this cover. Maybe this is witch shit. I don't know. Whatever
But
it
why
is, it's
now?
Spellwind bullshit. I don't know. Maybe this place, you know, it's all attuned with magic shit. You know it, I know it. I fucking
if
hate
he-
it, yeah.
What if he did send you the message back, but we're only just getting it now?
Right.
We don't even know how that works in a pocket dimension.
Yeah.
I still don't know what a pocket dimension is.
It's just like space folded and bent, but still remaining wherever it was before. So it kind of just like unfolds when you get there. At least that's how they explained it to me.
My eyes
I
sort
think-
of lose focus as she talks. Okay.
The window, look,
It's like,
all nice and dark now, but earlier on there was an aurora. A borealis. Sort of weird lights in the sky.
Still
That's
present.
while that was happening.
It is still present as it sort of dances and displays color.
That's what I was looking at.
when it happened?
Yeah. The
Okay.
thing is this though, I sort of came back to my body, right? They were trying to figure out what to do. Devon was hurt. One-eyed Bill maybe lost his other eye. But I was trying to snap out of it, you know? Figure out what was going on. Was I asleep? Was I waking up? Before I could really move my body, I had one little last sort of image. Lorcan splayed the fuck out on mossy stones, all them vines worming and wriggling around him. He was alive, but he looked pretty panicked. Pretty rare to see him in that state. If I'm honest, Devon, One-Eyed Bill, maybe Buttocks, maybe all of the fucking Longbow's crew, maybe even Lorcan himself might be dead. If they ain't dead, maybe they'll be dead soon. Or maybe it's bullshit. Maybe it's a trick, you know, some bollocks to get me to go up north and fucking die. I don't know who the fuck would want to pick me off specifically, but, you know, stranger things have happened.
I mean, if you're going, we're all going, surely.
Yeah, and what's your instinct? Do you feel like it's a trap?
Honestly, no. But I don't know really what I think or feel at the moment.
Right.
So, anyway. I thought I'd let you know.
Well,
I
let's
mean,
go
either
have
way.
a conversation.
Well, I don't know whether I should go follow this up. I don't really want to. I don't really want to rush off and try and fucking save them. If they get themselves killed, then they get themselves killed. We've all been dead men, you know? Everyone in the fucking Entente, especially old Lorcan's lot. All of us were waiting for a fucking grisly end. Eventually, it was just what we did while we were here. But he is my uncle, isn't he?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd feel right if I didn't look into it in some way. Anyway, I'm telling you, and I think maybe we should go and speak to Matazar about it. See if he's got any insight.
Yeah,
And then,
let's go now.
I agree.
Well, there's a second problem.
Okay.
His spell that's going to send us back can only take us to fucking Blue Falls.
So we need to find a way up north?
Well, we don't know what the fuck we find when we get to Blue Falls. Who knows whether they're still fucking holed up, whether there's a fucking war, whether it's overtaken, the place could be fucking razed, who knows?
True.
If we show
However,
up in Blue Falls, we might get fucking stuck there.
it is not like we have tested the Grandmaster. For all we know, he might have the power to send us right to where we need to go.
I've asked him 100 times, if not more.
He might have been lying. But this seems more important than just sending you away. Especially since we're now enrolled, so to speak, you know? Maybe we can sway him.
All right.
He can-
Well, I mean, he's opened up a lot, kind of dropped his guard and been more honest, and I've been pretty honest. Maybe now's the time we, tell him our real plans for the God King, or at least our hope and desire, and we tell him about up north. And we see, maybe he can scry, maybe he can give us more information.
All right,
It wouldn't hurt.
Smith, this spell of yours, is it supposed to be under wraps or what?
Why would it be? No spells here are really under wraps. The whole point of this place is to learn.
All right.
It will require several reagents, however.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Chalks and rare inks and gems and things.
Slight addendum to what you just said about spells being under wraps here. There is an entire spire or wing that floats and does this chaotic dance
Stop!
between from place to place, or when it comes to here at the academy. One of these spires has been, lack of a better term, in disrepair. It seems to be abandoned. There are 9 of these spires. One of them
Did they
is-
tell us you must never go there? Were we told not to go there? Because I want to go.
Yeah, I think there isn't like a you must never go there, but I do think that there is like no the word that would summon the spire for you to ascend to it is not, or to call the spire over to then walk onto it and then it float off, has never been told to you. So it's not necessarily
but
like
let
it's not like never
someone
go there, but it's just not
knows.
advertised. That,
Have we been told the words for the other towers?
Yes. Yeah, you can summon the other towers.
Okay.
And ascend to them or what may, but the one still sort of floats in this dance amongst the others, but doesn't ever. But when it comes to, of course, under wrap spells, that is that.
Yeah.
You have
Okay.
learned while you were here that represents a school of magic that is not taught here anymore, and that is void magic.
So we have to avoid the void?
Yes.
I'm sure. I must
they
have
say-
quipped that at least once.
Did they ever say why they don't teach it anymore?
For a lack of a better term, it is too chaotic. Of course, the Spellwind, being chaotic and volatile itself, there is a... There is a stigma around void magic that, at least here, for some reason, whether it was an event or what it may, they don't like to talk about it or acknowledge its existence, as if, I think I would probably compare it to religion versus science. They believe in this Spellwind is all powerful and that is how the magic is run, but there is also this one other scientific reality type magic that they don't necessarily acknowledge a lot of, because they know so much about here in Hearth is woven with the Spellwind, but outside of Hearth and amongst the stars, it's probably void magic. And they, for lack of a better term, avoid teaching that. So it's just this, it's an unexplained chaos that they have more answers with Spellwind than they do about void magic. That is what you are told. You also know from experiences that Brother Sykes
Yeah.
uses void magic.
How, I was just about to ask, what has he been up to these last 3 months?
Brother Sykes, I think you notice, hasn't necessarily, I shouldn't say left your side, but there are times where he would wander off and then he would show back up. Sort of like a lost puppy. And trying to find their place, but staying familiar with the people that he knows best. You also, throughout the last 3 months, have noticed and discovered that he isn't very welcome here. Not necessarily the fact that they don't like him, but there is more to Brother Sykes than the story he has told you.
When you say that we would have been able to recognize that Brother Sykes casts void magic,
Yes.
are we familiar with what void magic is in general? I mean, he once cast giant tentacles. To me, it seems like he must be some sort of fish-based druid or something.
I think tentacles were probably what your mind had perceived those to be. The closest thing that your mind could process what you saw were tentacles. I think that's sort of maybe an out-of-character meta thing. But I think for void magic, I don't necessarily think a lot of the void or how magic has sort of, or at least void magic has displayed itself toward you would depict something from the deep. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah. What the fuck? Okay. It's all I want to learn, guys. Sorry in advance.
No
She's
way.
going to become void Shah.
Yeah.
Void shop.
The magic of the stars, dude. Fuck yeah.
So yeah, I think that's sort of how void magic is looked upon here, where it is this sort of it's like quantum theory versus religion. It's like, no, that doesn't exist. We have all of this magic here, but the void magic is the puzzle pieces of magic itself.
Is there, I'm sure
If that makes
Sykes
sense.
might know, but is there some sort of rhyme or reason to the words of power used to move the platforms from one to another to get to these spires?
Brother Sykes would have told you that it is, and you would have all learned this over the last couple of months, no need for a scene for it, but you would have learned that that is just how one student would travel between one spire to the next to get to
Correct.
one class or whatever. But rhyme or reason to each word, not necessarily. It could it's like a password. It could change every semester or so. It's usually a
see, okay.
passphrase that is said and summons the spire to wherever
Okay.
it is called to.
In which case, I'm sorry, Vasha, I'm not sure there's going to be an easy way to get there, unless, of course, you'd like to fly.
I'm sure they would see me doing that, so that's probably not a good idea.
Possibly. Unless you'd like to fly while invisible. Anyway, we're looking for the Grandmaster.
Sure.
Sorry, what can you do now?
Right. So, with this scene, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I interrupted and spoke a bunch about the void magic there. But if you like, yeah, we can wrap this scene and go toward.
You mean
Fine.
quantum physics? I'm just call it what it is. I'm sorry.
Physics.
I'm freaking out. I'm so excited.
Quantum magic. Or
Yep.
if you want to if you want to head toward find Matazar, you can. The Grandmaster.
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Or Brother Sykes, you totally can. I think as you leave, the presence of Brother Sykes is nearby. Whether that is in the hallway, just sort of waiting, oh, hi, or if you just sort of feel him in the area. That is sort of, or he walked by, when when like you're sitting at dinner or you're sitting with a bunch of friends and someone's like, oh, I'll be right back. And then you have that feeling like, okay, someone's away, or maybe even on a Discord call, and they're like, okay, someone's away, they're going to be back soon. You have that feeling of that anxiety of, oh, wait, we're missing a person. That sort of happens here, I think, with Brother Sykes. Whether or not he walked by the door and you, some of you saw him, and then now have that feeling of Brother Sykes is right outside the door, and you have that like subconscious, or and it's up to you however we wanted to move forward with the scene, but or he is waiting out in the hall, or he is not in the hall, but I think there is a presence or something that happens, whether I think it is he passed by the doorway or something that makes you feel like he's in the area. And then as you leave, go ahead.
I think as we were talking about this and the fact that we talked about void magic and then I felt him pass by the doorway, I think in the last 3 months, I've become a little bit more allowing myself to really embrace the idea that there might not be coincidences, or if there is something that has presented, like the Spellwind has done it, or Brother Sykes maybe was aware that we were having this conversation and needed him. So I'm kind of a little, I don't know, very into that. So if he walked by and I felt him the moment we were talking about void magic, I would exchange a look with Ty, like, you're closest to the door. Can you grab the door? Like, he's there, right?
Little adjustment. We, in character, this scene didn't really talk about void magic.
We didn't talk about it.
I broke in and blabbered a bunch about it. But what was last said about that strung me into this void magic was just talking about potential magic that has been barred off from
and not allowed, right?
Yeah. So there wasn't there hasn't been an in character scene with.
But what we were saying is someone might be able to help us fix this spell, so that and then he went by. So it's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, and he does sort of like I said, he does sort of wander around like a lost puppy and sort of gravitate toward your group, because I feel like that's where he's the most comfortable right now. And I think you do notice that. So it's not super uncommon for him to just sort of be I'm just in the area, because he just sort of has been awkwardly doing that every once in a while. But whether or not that has any other meaning is completely up to whatever plays out.
I think Brother Sykes is outside the door.
Okay. As you all sort of make your way, Brother Sykes. Hello? Yes.
Hi.
I'm asleep.
Did you need something? Or just saying hello?
Oh, I was just saying hello. I walked by your rooms and no one was there, so I figured I'd toddle off this way, and I've noticed you were all in there, and is everything all right?
Yeah, we were actually just discussing, Smith has a spell he's been working on to maybe get us out of here, but it seems it might be restricted to one particular place, right, Smith?
Yeah, I only have the sigils and information for this spell to connect to Blue Falls.
Oh, like a teleportation circle, is it?
Yeah, just like the one that we took when we came here.
Oh, congratulations! That's awesome. And you know it works?
If I'm doing it, it's going to work.
That's the spirit, Smith. Well.
Plus, it wasn't really mostly my work. It was Cellray's.
Oh, yes. Good. Well, is that are you all heading to Blue Falls? next?
Uh,
What?
Well, I mean, if we have no choice, then that's where we'll go. But I think we'd like to try to see if we can figure out how to choose our destination and not be stuck going back to Blue Falls. Do you know how much, how does the time disparity work here? I mean, it's been 3 months for us here, but I mean, you've been here before, right?
Mhm.
Like, how much time has passed over there? Do you know? Or is it different?
It's different, yes. It can be every traverse between here and there. Usually is sort of. It depends on what the Spellwind is feeling. The random breeze and how it's blowing, depending on, of course, whence you come and whence you go. Depends on how you arrive. Really, what I'm trying to say is it depends on each time you travel. It could be 100 years for one person, or it could be several days for another. It's never been that extreme,
Okay.
I don't think.
Okay. Well, then we'll arrive when we need to arrive, I suppose.
Precisely when you need to. Yes.
You wouldn't happen to know anything about sigils and how we would do? Could we make our own to take us somewhere else?
Yeah, the sigils that you would have to, I'm sure you know this, Smith, the sigils would need to match one that has already been created in it. You are jumping from one point to another. You cannot create. You see, sort of for a moment, I think out of habit, looks around and then sort of listens. There's nobody near, are there? It's just us, yes?
Do I feel anybody nearby?
Give me an Arcana.
Okay. We'll find out.
Give me an Arcana check.
9.
You don't feel anybody nearby. It's the
No, I
only
don't think so.
presence or the only, like that, your sense of anxiety about someone else being nearby has been relieved when you saw Brother Sykes outside the door.
Okay, yeah.
So like that affirms that feeling, but it hasn't spiked, or there hasn't been any sort of arcane reason for you don't feel anything interesting or out of the ordinary right now. So I think your answer would probably be no. There's probably no one else near. But Brother Sykes says, only way I know how, the 2 points, one and another, are linked. There always is a link between one point and another. Whether or not it is something that is being created, there is always going to be its copy. So in this case, if you cannot create a space that would then link between two if there isn't its copy. So you cannot, and it would be an impossibility for you to then create a point that doesn't exist upon the other side. It needs to have its, lack of a better term, copy.
I'm sorry. That's so cool. Listening to you explain quantum entanglement as a wizard is so cool. Okay, cool. Marsha doesn't know anything about that though, so I have to calm the fuck down, but it's hard.
So that is that's why.
The question is, are there any other sigils that are readily available here at the Academy that I might be able to learn or use?
Just so we have more options other than Blue Falls.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
you left it kind of a precarious situation there.
Make me a persuasion with advantage, Smith.
super good at this.
The best.
And 11.
There is, I'm unsure of where things are kept anymore, but I'm sure there are logs somewhere. Whether or not this is, highly top secret. Information would be kept somewhere in case, of course, anyone matters or needed to meet anyone on the other side. Of course, within the material realm itself. I'm sure there are some sort of locations left somewhere. I know there used to be, at least.
All right. So the bottom line here is we need to speak with either the other instructors or Matazar and see
Where
if
do you
we
want
can.
to go? Exactly.
I'm not really sure at this point. Where do you want to go, Ty?
Ty's here?
Yeah, and I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, thought I smelled smoke.
We, maybe up
Moonlight.
north? Just options, I think, at this
Place
point.
called Hornlight, but ideally not directly into the fucking center of Hornlight.
Hornlight.
Do you know
Anywhere
it?
near the Spearway.
Would any of us know where Homelight is? Or
Give me
what it is?
Give me some history checks. Whoever is interested.
I don't think that I would.
I don't think
So I'm
I
not
would
gonna
either.
roll.
Yeah.
Fair.
I would like to undo my roll because I don't know if I would either.
Okay. All right. I will ignore it.
I mean, I would argue that you would have more knowledge than we do. Like, we were propaganda city. Everything was kept from us. It's possible that you do know.
I would like to petition that I know about Homelight.
Okay.
I also
I
think
mean, I've got
that
a
you
pretty
should-
good idea.
You
of a
also
rough
rolled a
idea.
21,
Uh-huh.
so I think
Right.
that's
If
the
if,
dice rule.
if Ty knows what it's called, then maybe perhaps in my short time with the Entente, I would have possibly heard or read about something before the mission to Walden.
Yes. You. Yeah, jump to 21. Ty, were you arguing that you would like to make an history? 'Cause you
No,
totally
but
can.
I have some sort of peripheral idea because they mentioned that the Spearway was south of it, and I know it's on the coast
Huh?
because they arrived by ship. So I have probably a fucking vague idea that it is somewhere on the map, which would be, and I'll just do it for us up here, but somewhere here is where, in my own mind's eye, I think Ty is thinking it is anyway.
Makes sense.
Say again. Can you show me where?
Just in this area because of
Okay,
the
yeah, all right.
conversations they had last week about being able to
Oh,
get
it's on the map. I see it.
go
Okay.
south towards the Spearway so as to get back to Evervale for their guerrilla tactic.
Well,
When
shit,
you're-
if the spearway's below it, then there's no way to get to it except by boat.
Or through the Spearway.
Yeah, but I mean, good luck with that. As if the God King doesn't have that under watch, knowing that the only way to get.
It's basically
boy,
a highway
okay.
on the water going up north.
Yeah.
I believe the Diamond family were, last I know of Hornlight, were in charge of all of Hornlight. Is that where you wish to go?
Not
Diamond
directly
Estate?
there, but near there. Potentially, maybe, yes.
Very well. But not there directly.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, if you were to somehow find whatever these locations may be, or more of these sigils, sort of
we should stop talking about this here.
Okay.
I have a feeling we're being scribed.
Okay.
I don't wish to cry anymore.
As Brother Sykes tries to sort of cover up what they were just saying.
So?
I do have another question for you, and if
Yes.
you don't want to answer, you don't have to, but
Of course, yes.
I've heard a couple of different things about you since I've been here, and one of those things is that you did not graduate, that you were asked to leave. What, were you expelled?
No. I used to be a professor here. To teach.
What did you teach?
Void magic. And once that was read from the curriculum, so was I.
That's the spire, isn't it?
Very same.
What caused it to be read from the curriculum?
I wish I could answer that in this moment.
Got it. Maybe when we get to Blue Falls.
Yes. Yes. Or, yes, Blue Falls. Where are you off to now?
I guess we're gonna go try to have another conversation with, and I kind of glance at Ty and then to Smith.
Mandazar?
Yes.
That is all right, very well.
Mm-hmm.
I will, well, then I guess I will bid you all adieu. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope you have a wonderful conversation. And do let me know what you, what you decide upon, and if you need help or are interested in learning a bit more.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you, brother.
And you see Manazar starts to then make... I'm sorry, not Manazar. Brother Sykes just starts to turn in this awkward motion and disappears down the hall.
Oh my god, I just realized calling him Brother Sykes probably hurts then if he got fucking kicked out of here.
Wait,
Okay,
the
sorry.
other professors here also called brother and sister, or what is
Yes.
the whole convention? Okay.
Yes.
Right.
And I don't know if there is
That's only
any...
for the instructors.
That is only for the instructors. And there isn't necessarily a rhyme or reason that is, at least what you've picked up on. It's not like there's this, there isn't this interesting, it isn't quite touched upon in the fact that like, oh, this is what we do. They are our brother. They are our sister. There's no like, it's just sort of Mr., Mrs., it's just how tradition is done here. Whether or not that is from a tradition of some sort of religious background or something of this or some sort of spiritual background, but now at Polaris Academy it's just a tradition and a title that they put amongst one another. But maybe once before in a different age it was dawned upon each other in some reason, but now this is just how they can differentiate someone who is learning versus someone who is teaching.
I see.
Did you get the feeling he wanted to come with us?
Yeah, I
I
did,
was
but
just curious.
Just a bit, yes.
I don't think he feels safe here. But which
No.
makes sense if he used to be a professor, and I'm surprised he agreed to come back with us at all. I mean, to lead us here or anything.
Would you like to see my my magic?
Yes.
Not my magic. My special instruments that I've been working on.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I reach into my pouch and I get my crystal vial that you've seen me pull out 1,000 times before with a little bit of fluid inside. I'm going to start to, the way I've always done before. I'm going to just run my finger around the edge of it. So far, I only have the one note, but it's a musical instrument nonetheless. And basically, I'm blagging and I'm looking around. He said we're being scryed, so I'm looking to see if maybe perhaps using detect magic, I can maybe perhaps see what is scrying us.
Yeah, as you do, there is a rippling, distortion sort of in the southern corner of the room.
Okay.
Can't quite make out what it is with only seeing probably the ripples of magic, but that would be where you would see maybe a mote of disruption, which would indicate probably some sort of scrying spell.
All right.
But moments later, as you are sort of detecting, it winks out.
Okay. All right. So it just is gone.
Yes, almost as if it felt you detecting its presence.
Do you think that was a test?
I
To see if we noticed, or?
don't know. I was going to use that to detect, and then maybe perhaps I was going to, if depending on what it was, I was going to maybe bring up the lantern and show you, the lantern.
I just assumed that we were always being watched while we were here.
I suppose from now on it is a safe assumption to make, but I don't feel safe for it. But
I don't think they want to hurt us. I think they're genuine in their desire to educate.
I suppose. But I'll just from now on, bathe with my robe on. Okay. At the very least, we're not being listened to right now. So, what is the plan?
Do you think he knows more about up north? Sykes, I mean.
The fact that he knew the family that controlled the place is interesting, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed to know more about Hornlight than he did about anywhere else, really.
Mm-hmm.
What
How
about?
do we know where he gets his information, though, Who knows what he's tapped into? He has different shit every day.
Not trusted this man since we have met him, personally. But it is not like the folk here have put him down the second he came through, so I don't know how dangerous he could be.
I get the sensation that maybe he's fucked with the wrong shit at one point, and it's messed him up, and they don't like it neither.
I've always thought that his blindness was voluntary.
It might be.
I mean, I offered to cure it that one time, and he denied. Regardless.
Maybe it allows him to see in a way we don't understand. I've never gotten the impression that he was anything but a friend and here to help.
You know there are ways of doing that, yes, to people?
Yeah. But I choose not to believe it in his case. I mean, that would be and I'm not saying it's not what's happening, but that would be a very, very long game.
I suppose.
And so random, because we found him randomly. And we didn't have to, we could have just left him, and he could have just left at any time, and I think he just wants to belong somewhere.
I wonder just how random.
Oh. Maybe it's not random, but I don't think it's him trying to do harm. If it's not random, it's just that he wanted to belong somewhere, and the Spellwind led him to us, somewhere where he would belong, or to me.
Well, I am willing to put my faith in your faith. But for now...
outlook.
Right. Yeah. So, shall we move then?
Yeah. Let's go have that conversation.
You all move forward in the fact that you find your way into a great main hall. This one, after probably traversing up through the residence of the cliffside rock that you see here in depicted here, deep within is the residences, and you would then traverse upward into whatever spire it has been called onto, or into the place that it is now. As you do, you find a large dining hall, and up, I think, at one of the tables, not up on the podium or presenting where faculty usually is, but at one of the tables in the dining hall is scribing, not scrying, but scribing and scribbling on some notes, or reading a book, or doing some sort of clerical work of some sort, is Matazar. He's a tall, skinny old man with a stringy beard, and also has this like pearl type plate that sort of wraps around the crown of his bald head, and his robes seem to be adorned and gilded with gold as well. Glasses sit at the end of his nose, and as you sort of approach, he turns.
Oh, hello! Good to see you all. I hope you're all doing well. How have you been?
And he sort of scoots away from the bench and stands up.
How is everything? Oh, you've all been sleeping well? Good.
About as well as can be expected.
Very good. That's good. And I hear, Mr. Smith, that you have made some sort of improvements. Yes?
Yeah, the teleportation circle is
very good.
It's complete. At least to Blue Falls.
Yes. Oh, good. So does it. I don't wish to. I don't want all of you to leave. But is this where we begin to say goodbye?
It might be.
Oh, darn.
It's not forever.
Good. You've all been a pleasure to teach, and you have all been very fast learners.
And looks at each one of you.
I know the sigils for Blue Falls.
Yes.
However, we might have difficulties making our way back there. There might have been some, frankly, some very dangerous battles that took place. And for safety's sake, at the very least, we might not want to make the trip back there specifically. Problem is, I don't know the sigils for anywhere else. Is that knowledge available to us?
Unfortunately, it isn't. It's that is usually kept for faculty and grandmasters only. But is what you all, where are you deciding to go?
We're thinking of a few different options, actually.
Hmm?
If maybe we were to present you with a couple of those options, would you be able to tell us if you could maybe perform the spell?
Unlikely, but yes, I'd like to hear it. Yes, of course.
Right, well, we're still trying to figure that out.
Oh.
So we'll let you know as soon as we know.
All right. Well, indecisiveness is always a good key to learning.
What's a requirement for becoming a grandmaster?
Being old, most likely. No offense. I mean, like,
no,
you have to walk
none
here.
taken. You're correct. I mean, it comes down to why would someone your age, of course, not make the joke? It was good. It was very good.
It was not a joke.
Okay. Well, right. Anyway, if you would like to become a grandmaster, it would be quite the undertaking. Quite a lot to learn, Smith, if that is something you are wishing. As for all of you, well, yes, it would take a extensive training, many years here at the academy, and of course, the ability to teach.
Fine.
You will?
You ever heard of the Briar Coven?
Sorry? The what?
The Briar Coven.
Briar Coven.
Group of women.
No, I have not. Why?
Well, it is useless.
Okay, well, that's... Thank you.
As usual.
As usual, Ty, always the positive one in the bunch.
Very
Where
much to
would
be
we
positive
find information on?
If you like, I could see what I can do. I could,
Scry?
try, yes. And there is something, Brian, where would have you know about, these, why would you bring it up? Who are
Well,
they? What do you know of them?
Well, we don't know anything yet. We're hoping you could help us with that.
Very well. I could do
We
that.
just-
I can give you information. I just don't know it. I'll have to do some research and.
Oh, wonderful.
Very well.
Or we could do it. Make it easier on you if you just tell us like what wing of the library or where do we even go to find records like that? I mean, surely they've been around for a while.
Oh, this is the
Right.
first time I've ever heard of a Briar Coven. Records, I that doesn't recall any records of them here, but if they are something that is cropped up during the time of Flaris being in this, where we are now, then it would be lost to us unless, of course, someone, a student or one of you would bring it up, which you have, so now I'm interested.
Okay. So what would you need to be able to scry other than a name?
Great question. You have the Briar Coven, that's all you have.
Potentially, so far, yes. I mean, we might be able to dig for some more, but as it
Yep.
stands, just the name.
Well, the name Coven does recommend that it is and utilize that it could be some sort of witchcraft, and that could be quite dangerous for the Spellkin and the reputation of such, especially during the times of the Crusades. So it's very easy for one to who wishes to pin blame on the likes of us on
Yes.
dark magic. So, I am interested to help and figure out who and what these people are, and who and what they're doing, and whether or not. Why'd you bring it up?
They're not evil. Or at least they weren't, I don't think.
Hmm?
3 of them. Kind, apparently. Maybe operating north of the Spearway. I just need information on him. I don't know anything.
Very well. Ty Fair. Do you mind if I call you Ty Fair?
No.
Ty Fair, I feel like there hasn't been much for us to offer you here. And every time we try, you have rejected such. I will, if I could, do this for you. Tomorrow morning
Right.
I should have more information, yes?
Okay. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And I appreciate everything that you do, Ty. Thank you.
And I think, make me an insight.
May I argue that I will as well, since
Yes.
we're... Yeah.
For the record, Ty sees this man as a jailer. Everyone else sees him
What
as
a fun
different.
guy.
You know what I mean? Like that's the
Yeah.
Oh, and I like how your
feeling
name is
Ty
Lorcan.
has.
Yeah, so the 23, and
Oh, perfect.
you may also,
Okay.
because you both be, whether or not you both get the information. Great, 23 and a 22. He's referring to the Entente. Of course.
Okay.
So he's like thanking you for your role in Spellkin, this rebellion.
In saving
In
Spellkin's
saving-
lives.
Exactly.
Cool.
and
I
you
love
sort
this
of
guy.
you sort of see that he is like, there is that genuine, and there always sort of has been this like sort of, he understands where you're from and where you're coming from, Ty. And so it's always like he feels bad because he wants to help you, but knows that if you're not interested to learn, you're not going to learn. So he's just like, is there anything I could do? All right. And so there is a genuine thank you for your rebellious service.
I think Ty wouldn't have been direct. Like Ty's kind of abrupt, maybe, but I don't think he would have been rude to this person. I don't think he dislikes this person, but he dislikes the fact that this person was like, "You can never leave," and what this place represents to young Ty is just something that Ty he can't get over it.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a thing where he actively dislikes this man or anything.
Yeah, it's just
Really, it's just
uncomfortable.
It's more. There's just nothing that he wants to do here.
Mhm.
He gives Jet
and,
the creeps.
Even gives him the
That's fair.
creeps. It gives Jet the
Yes,
creeps,
and
right? I
Jet
see.
gets the
Yeah,
creeps,
yeah.
Well, I like him. He's an old fuddy-duddy, and we have tea.
I don't think I distrust him necessarily as an enemy or anything. I see him as an enemy. Although I for sure have done the Ty thing of just sizing him up every now and then and figuring out ways that I would kill him if I needed to.
perfect.
But that's just old habits, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been 3 months at this point. I think Ty is just like, yeah, whatever, dude. You know, that's his attitude to this guy.
Old habits die hard.
Haha.
It's the title of the episode.
I think we already have tie hard, but that's okay.
God damn.
Damn
We
it.
do, yes.
All right, fine. Come up with another one then.
Ah, damn it. All right, well, give me another hour and a half. Okay. It is sort of
Is there anything else? What? There is. I've got a good night of scrying in front of me.
Well, since you'll be scrying anyway.
Yes.
Is there more than one academy?
There are several. Yes.
Any up north?
No. We are. There is, at far as I know, there could be. Ferris Academy has done its best to hide away from these crusades, and of course the God King. But we don't wish for people to find us and know of us unless they wish to. Unless there is, it's wishy-washy. But when it comes to other locations of educational import, I am unaware of any. Near the spine. There could be more up north. There could be others in the south. It's hard to say when you are... time is a bit
Funny.
interesting when we are in where we are now. Things flow differently because of our state versus the material realm. Like I said before, if I don't know anything of the Coven, but if the Coven were to arrive during our time here, then it's new information. And new information is created all the time. That is why I am very interested in learning about the Coven, so I could teach more of it.
Right. Well, there is an academy up north. I'm pretty sure. Think I and I glance at Jet for a second, and I think it's been 3 months. We're probably close enough that I understand that this guy gives him the heebie-jeebies. So then I think twice about saying Jet and then I just say, I may have divined it by accident. So if I were to give you maybe a description of the landscape, could you maybe add that to your list of things to look for? I will warn you, though, I think it might potentially be pretty dangerous. I think the God King's using it.
Oh, exciting. Oh,
Yes, very.
Oh, okay, the God King, that can't be good. Very well. Sure. What do you have information-wise? It's north.
Okay. Yeah, and then I go ahead and I describe, because I don't
everything
really
you can.
remember all the details, but Varsha would, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For what we saw, I know that we saw the aurora, and I know we saw something strange, like either a mountain or something nearby, so I would describe all of that. And then I would drop names that we heard during the encounter and descriptions of architecture and things like that. Anything that I know will help him try to figure out where or when. So yeah, all of that.
Will, and they writes down some notes.
Yeah.
A quill scrapes across the
And-
page as
Very well.
the underlines
Again.
and stuff.
Be careful, obviously.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
So we'll see you tomorrow.
Sleep well.
You too. Or if you don't sleep, have fun.
Likely the latter.
Yeah.
Don't think he sleeps.
No, I think he does sleep. I just think he gets really excited about certain projects. And
Likely the latter again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just very excited and might spend all night hyper-focusing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. And if there's anything else I can do to help, you let me know. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes.
As the door closes, I turn to Vasha and I say, "It gives me the creeps."
Sort of echoes
Yeah.
throughout this chamber.
Goodbye. Good night.
He gives me the creeps. No, I'm kidding.
Surely can't be talking about me.
He's
No, I
Just-
know. That's why I didn't say it was both of us. I just said it was me, just in case.
he's just like Brother Sykes, but on a permanent sugar rush.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe him, I guess. I think he just likes to learn.
It
You
may
know?
be a bit too much.
I like to learn as well, but yeah, he's a little excitable, to say the least.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Scrying on the bedpan is a bit too far.
I don't think he's
Seems to
Done
me that,
that.
yeah.
I mean, how would you do?
Spends too much time learning, not enough time doing, you know?
yeah.
How did
That's-
that go?
Oh, hey. He got very excited and is going to look into it for us. Oh, we didn't tell him about the coven or anything. We just asked him a couple questions.
I was
right.
wondering why we went so forthcoming with the information. I mean, I thought we were going to try and get him to teleport us there himself. If we were forthcoming enough, I thought maybe he'd do it, you know? Regardless of not knowing what they were.
Is this in front of me? Are you talking this in front of
Mhm,
the side?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I felt like being honest and direct was going to work. So I guess we did.
And
I felt like we were, but maybe perhaps we weren't direct enough, you know? Like Ty told them about the Briar, but he didn't tell him about the lock-in, did he?
Mm.
Or the danger that might be there.
Well,
Because,
I didn't want to speak for him.
no, but I'm saying that we don't know how time sensitive it was, you know? And if we pushed the urgency, maybe they would have teleported us there, you know?
Honestly,
But- Hmm?
if Lorcan can't handle it, I'd rather go in there knowing.
What, you don't think we
Something
can
about
handle it?
I don't know. That's what I mean. But he fucked up Red Devon. He's a better fighter than me.
Was.
Lorcan. Yeah. Lorcan's he doesn't cast spells a lot, but when he does, they fucking pop. So, if something really got him and he weren't able to do something about it, I don't know. I'd rather know what it was, basically.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were split up because of a freak storm, no?
No, he left us.
He
Yeah.
did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of left that.
He left like under the cover of night as well. He didn't so much as say goodbye, at least to us. He may have to Ty, but he didn't to the rest of
a
us.
few
So.
words.
Runs in the family, I assume.
What?
What was
Meehan
that?
had a few words. It's just an observation.
Know a lot about my family, do you, Sykes?
No.
Come on, he's just playing.
No, I've been traveling with you for several months, and then also been here for several months, and I've heard you say probably 20 things. Well, I meant a few words, that's all. Just a...
So, yeah. Let's give the old man a chance to maybe look something up. Might
What
as
is he
well go
doing?
in blind.
He's gonna try scrying, and he's gonna try looking for a coven. What's the name, Ty?
Briar Coven.
Briar Coven up north. Do you know anything about that?
No, but you said he's
No.
scrying.
He's gonna try, yeah. Why?
When?
Tonight. Why?
Well, that'll keep
What
him,
when are you talking
well,
about?
that'll keep him busy.
Busy and distracted from what?
Well, now we could talk a bit. Come.
And I just follow him immediately.
Well, any of you else coming along?
Come on.
Fine.
I reluctantly follow.
I go once the room is empty because the room is it's either be scried here or be with this other old man. Okay, so I follow. I think Jet has a thing. I don't know, but I think in this moment Jet is very kind of uncomfortable.
That's fair. That's super fair. For no particular reason. That's just super fair. As I change the music, as you start to make your way and follow Brother Sykes, Brother Sykes leads you toward outside of the spire, this main spire that you are on. It is still dark. There is a cold wind that blows through the area, probably exaggerated a bit with probably much like, what is that, glow plankton that when you touch the wind or touch the waves, the planktons
Yeah.
do that thing. That's sort of what happens here, and I think that is probably some sort of an illusion spell to, much like the Aurora, exaggerate the Aurora and exaggerate the Spellwind here, which makes it, of course, more fun to practice with. Sort of like Spellwind training wheels. Either way, as you sort of walk through and the breeze blows through the area, there is a bit of trailing that happens as the breeze touches and hits you with this sort of this glowy bioluminescent type effect, just to sort of accentuate the wind. But that only sort of happens outside, where a lot of the practice for training in the Spellwind takes place. And it is more present, of course, at night when you can see it. But as you make your way out, there is still the Aurora above, and Brother Sykes
Says you are certain he's busy.
I don't like this. Yes. I mean, he should be, no? He said he was going to be working, but if you would like, I could. I just, I pull out my thing and I just start to make sure that.
and you don't, it ripples through the area and you don't see any detection. Of course, what ripples back is the spire that is just right in front of you, of course, representing some sort of magic. Some of the wind also comes back, but no weird distortion like you were getting with the scrying before.
At least not presently.
All right. Let's stand back.
And Brother Sykes turns his back to you and says some sort of some dark, I guess not dark, but like some distortive, dissonant words that you would recognize as void speech or something of that nature. You have heard him say something like this before. When I think he was casting a spell once before. I think before when the tentacles arrived with that Umber Hulk fight, he mentioned something like this. So with that dialect once again rippling through the area, something is said, a phrase that none of you understand. But as soon as moments pass by, the normal moving and the dislodging of stone as the spire starts to then move and slowly gravitate away from the cliffside or precipice you are on. There is like this random shuffling of the spires as one looks a little bit more overgrown. It doesn't look completely out of place here, but the topiaries and the flora have not been tended to in a while, as Brother Sykes sort of looks around at you as the spire that you have not been able to enter sort of shuffles its way to in front of you. Brother Sykes then looks at you all and says,
Let's go inside. We could probably talk there. Yes?
Okay.
I'm coming.
Australian. Not a fear
Yeah,
in the world.
they didn't change it after you left?
Change what?
The word. The word always changes for us. Guess not.
I created this.
Oh, they can't change it.
Correct. This is why I've been trying to just... let's go inside. Let's go inside. And,
Yeah, of course.
And
And I'll
Sykes
go in.
begins to
Yep.
just...
I shouldn't say I've created it.
as they start to correct themselves, like,
More like they don't have anyone to teach or master the... If one doesn't teach it, then no one's ever going to learn it. Therefore, who is ever going to cast it? You see?
What came first, the chicken or the mage, I guess?
Not going to
I
answer
guess
that
so.
question. So the
opening up into this large hall, representing the same sort of architecture as the last, as a lot of the other spaces. The smell in here is probably some old, mildewy books. And maybe a breeze of overgrowth. Windows are open in here. The way that the windows do open are sort of, they slide open, but there is no pane. They just sort of, on some sort of arcane track, as they are slid open. A breeze does blow through here. Some pages flip, and as you see pages on the ground sort of scatter and move, you notice that there is no writing on the parchment that's in here. There is a large device in this center. It looks much like a large stone loop. It sort of feeds into itself and down some sort of large funnel, or a conical recession that sort of goes into the wall. And down underneath, there's a ring of what looks to be spheres, not unlike the astrolabe we saw in episode 2, underneath Walden. A large collar with what looks like to be different shapes of different shapes of what looks to be celestial bodies, or maybe even Hearth itself. Of course, you could recognize that because Hearth, one of these spheres, has a white glass, maybe like a foggy glass sphere that sort of orbits around it. It doesn't look like it's moving, but almost as if without needing to feel around for it, Brother Sykes moves over towards it and just sort of, oh, it's been a while, and slides. There's a little bit of a grinding from probably age and dust, but smooth enough. The track underneath this loop, this conical loop, starts to just move. And then turns to you and says, I would potentially get you where you need to go. If you still are interested in getting out of here, wouldn't be as restricted.
Do you know the sigils? Or are you using something else? And what is that?
Void magic doesn't need sigils. We are able to, using this device, in theory, we will be able to, and
what is this device?
Looking at it like as if Brother Sykes can see it clear as day.
I'm extremely interested in the device.
Yeah.
I am very much.
And so is PB.
Yeah.
I mean, I have training as an artificer.
Yeah.
And I am very much interested in magical devices in general.
So give me an Arcana with advantage.
25.
4 on a 25. So with the 25, it does look like this is an experimental piece of technology. Or arcane technology. There are dotted and pocked throughout some of the tiers of Geoloon, which would be very expensive or rare here.
Yeah.
There are a couple pieces or sockets that are missing. Some of these crystals or these sockets. But you also could decipher just from the looks of it that it is supposed to. Well, it's hard to say what you would probably get from just looking at it. But you got a 25, so I've got to try to figure out how. The conical sort of the conical recession into the wall sort of would portray that something needs to be focused. The looping around the outside of it does sort of guide some sort of energy toward the center. Whether or not that is light, or whether or not that is sound, or whether or not that is Spellwind, it's hard to tell. But at some point,
as it
somewhere,
stands, the center is empty?
As it stands, the center is empty.
Okay.
The collar of this large device sort of standing in a circle with, like I said, it sort of goes down like you're sort of looking at a... It's sort of like, you know, when you go to the mall and you drop a coin in those big weird funnels. It sort of looks like that, but it's stuck to the wall. There is a large donut sort of loop that wraps around that's made of stone, and then it goes into that conical type basin. There's a collar at the bottom that is sort of a two-dimensional, not necessarily like a three-dimensional astrolabe, but sort of this two-dimensional one that sits at the bottom of it. And that looks a little bit more decorative as the rest of the piece, because this looks sort of gilded and golded, the collar at least, but the stone itself has sockets of these tiers of Geoloon, these fractured crystals that have come from the shattered moon that orbits.
And do those move with the parts that move? Just so that I can
they
visually see this? No, they're stuck.
No,
Okay.
They are stuck. Like I said, the collar of this, the astrolabe galaxy, whatever part of it, just looks to be sort of like a mobile or some sort of decorative, as the rest of it looks like it's a little bit more different in its style of architecture or sculpture. But
I'm going to point out the area that seems to be missing something. I said, what goes there?
Without looking away from this magnificent piece of tech. The Brother Sykes says,
That would be more tears. Are we missing a few?
Well, I mean, this area that's kind of... Is this some kind of collection device?
Of sorts.
Focus?
Yes, well, there will be a focus. Using this,
What's the focus?
well, using void magic, I'm thinking we are able to, in theory, this device should be able to, when I've mentioned earlier that there cannot be a point that doesn't have a separate, its own brother.
Copy.
Yes,
Right.
copy.
Yeah.
There, in theory, that has always been and always will be, of course, to other magics. That is how it is. There is always that other separate. But with void magic,
I glance at Ty when he says that.
What is the best way to explain? It's been so long since I've had to, forgive me. If
Okay,
the
take your time.
Spellwind is the air we breathe, wizards or sorcerers or what have you, I'm training students of sorts, are to inhale and take a deep breath, you see. Let's all, this is it, yes, I remember now. Let's all, everyone together, take a deep breath. But first, before we do, let's exhale. Ready? 1, 2, and you all sort of, or at least he does, exhale. And now keep going, blow out all the air you have. Yes, yes, yes?
and then you feeling that, whether or not you do, there is then,
Now, nod if you're out of air, yes?
I nod.
Now inhale.
and you feel your lungs expand, your diaphragm flexes, and you have this really good breath of air. But Brother Sykes says,
The moment.
sorry, as I just kill both the sick members of the party. Get wrecked. Haha, that was it. That's all I wanted to do, was make you both cough. The Brother Sykes then says,
That moment when you nodded, and slightly after that, that is void magic. If the breath is Spellwind, then you're the moment of emptiness. The moment where it is just you and no... The calm, the absence of breath, and the absence of the breeze itself, and the absence is what is the void. In all
But
matter
they're
of speaking.
still connected?
It's the first thing he said that makes sense to me. I don't like it.
Yes, of course. They are still connected. Magic and matter of speaking, there is...
Or you need air to breathe.
You need air to breathe, yes. So there is a symbiotic relationship between void and the Spellwind itself. And of course all Arcane, the Arcana, as well as the void, there is this symbiotic breath that happens between the two. Always, it's...
Brother Sykes, what did you do to get kicked out of this place?
Well, he told us he didn't do anything. He was teaching a curriculum they didn't want to teach anymore. Right?
Correct.
What's
I believe that is
exactly
what
in the
my-
curriculum was happening? Or
There
what triggered
wasn't
it?
anything specific.
You're looking at it.
as sort of gestures towards the mechanism.
That's what I thought.
Everything having its own brother or its symbiotic relationship. Of course, the breath between the Spellwind and, of course, void itself is a wonderful dance that needs to happen, yes? But there is, and you could tell that there is a little bit of a panic that is happening and an excitement with Brother Sykes as they sort of explain all of this. Yes, questions from the students?
Yeah, did you made this?
Well, I ordered several pieces with my salary at the time.
Right, but you
Constructed and designed, yes.
And what exactly do you do with this? What do you use this for?
Well, this is going to be
'Cause-
research mainly, but what it's for is, I'm hoping, in theory, I can put you anywhere you'd like, if it works. But
So you've never done it before
not
successfully.
Yeah, that's the not successfully. Every time it seems like one of these the tears around the collar of this seem to burst into some sort of dust. So I don't have many tries left, and also I need to have a complete set or a complete ring for it to work. But I'm able to, in theory, get you to outside of Hornlight or outside of. You can pop right into the God King's courtyard if you wanted. But if that is something you so wish, we could try it. If that's something, but we also have all night to figure it out. If
Can they?
matters are.
Sorry, just a couple of questions, and I need
And
you
I'm
to be honest with me,
And
please.
I'm sure you have questions because I'm
Yep.
dropping a lot. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. First question,
Is this to Sykes or me?
Sykes,
Okay, yes.
and I need you to be honest with me.
Mm-hmm.
Can they take you out of here now that you're in here?
Ooh.
Anyone? Are you safe here? Yes, in your Void
I-
Spire.
If they don't know I'm here, I assume.
They can't feel you doing anything in here? They won't be able to feel you using this?
Not if there's no one scrying. If Mattersour's busy,
As
Okay,
you
second
start
question.
rubbing a crystal, or you start to then rub the crystalline sphere, the cylinder that resonates your detect magic jet. You sort of look around and you don't see any sort of distortion. There is some distortion, I should say, and that is coming from, of course, this large loop thing,
Yeah.
which does signify magic. But this distortion is more about the scry. It looks like the scrying spell distortion, but of course it's surrounding this loop. The central point of this large conical loop has, it looks like it's radiating from the center point where this distortion would be echoing from, but almost like a large scrying spell, but coming from within. As far as weird, interesting points of where a scrying spell would be, you look around and you don't see anything, but you do see this large device in front of you. And, of course, everything else that you know is magical, like Varsha's mask that may or may not be on her, the technology within Smith's armor, and things like that, where you would know those things. But nothing out of the ordinary when it comes to a scrying spell jumps out at you. Varsha, you were saying something?
Oh, yes. Second question. If you use this successfully and you send us somewhere, what happens to you? Can you use it immediately after? What's your plan? Are you going to stay here indefinitely and work on whatever this is?
It's a great question. I'm still not entirely certain what the future holds for me, whether I leave here or there is an itching for me to continue this. If I am able to,
Yeah,
if I am
that's
able
what
to,
I'm afraid of. Is this why you came here? When you heard I wanted to come here?
Yes.
Did you come here for this? To finish it?
Would you be offended if I said yes?
No, I just want you to be honest. I'll think about how I feel later.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I want to help
Yeah.
as much as this could be quite an interesting venture for, of course, a turning point. This could be the crucible which forges and the rest of humanity here on the spine. If you are, I've heard many conversations between several of you and your plans of potentially trying to help the Spellkin. and us all being a part, and you start to feel this moment of convincing, where this of us, where we have been in places where we would have to turn away from the Swan, like that time I was captive, and you were all there to save me, or that time we were in Avtoki, and you were all there to help those wonderful people of Avtoki and the people of Blue Falls, and I could see that you all you have the same itch that I do to come back here to create and fix this for whatever the reason may be, and this could be the reason.
As he sort of looked towards all of you, with, of course, these...
Oh man, did he have to say it that way? Okay. All right. Fourth question then. What were you gonna do with this before we told you we wanted to use it to travel? What else can it do?
Well, I mean, if... with slight alterations, I would be able to do what we'd like it to do. Turning it on itself is enough for me to study the ripples that are created from the void. You see, there is the breeze that blows through what we know of Hearth, but there is also ripples of the void that will happen, and waves of such that ripple throughout space and time. Am I losing you?
No.
Oh, yes.
Surprisingly.
Wonderful. The stars themselves also irradiate, whether it could be Spellwind or could also be the void.
Or both.
Or both. You see, it's something I'm still trying to figure out. If I can create void magic and master void magic here, then it'll be easier for me to teach, you see. There is a lot of times where I would teach void and the school to students, and they would not get it. It would not stick with them. And unfortunately, from what my understanding is, there is great importance to learn how Hearth works by knowing the very principle of the building blocks of magic itself. Because without magic, we would not have all we see before us, you know.
Right.
Am I losing anyone?
As he
No.
sort of points to all of you.
No.
Something's been on my mind since we started talking about this void magic.
Hmm?
When we encountered the member of the Way of the Grasp, they used a spell that I think was void magic.
Oh no.
Why, oh no?
Well, go on. What was the spell? I have a theory.
There was, I don't know how to describe it. It sort of all pulled us in together, and
Oh.
it was like something was pushing down on us.
Well, it may not necessarily be void magic. But if there is... If there is a sect of the Sworn that are studying and applying void magic against other practitioners or spellkin, then there is a very good chance that they very well could be teaching and learning and teaching void magic in ways I cannot.
If that's the case, combined with several other factors, I don't think that this device would be able to get us to the Godking anyway. They would have some kind of precautions.
Have some sort of well, unless
Very good.
they think they're the only ones who can use it. If they think they're the only ones who can use void magic, then potentially the door's wide open, as long as we know how to use it, right?
Maybe.
Because that is a potential reality.
If it were me, and I was the one that was setting up any sort of defenses, I would take every precaution possible.
Yeah, of course, but what if you also think you're infallible, unkillable?
Yeah, but the God
Not that
King
I want to
wasn't
spend
the one.
a lot of time in his head.
The God King wouldn't be in charge of designing any of those precautions. He would assign
would have
someone else
else
that
do
job. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And if they are competent, and I'm sure that they are, and they know about void magic, then they might take precautions, if possible, against it.
I mean, they might, but they also might not out of arrogance, but out of efficiency. Like how quickly they can travel from one spot to another.
Perhaps.
So
Have
why
you
the Godking's
actually-
after this place?
What?
Maybe the God King wants this magic.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a very good possibility. And
I mean, I also wonder how much of it is him, to be honest, at this point.
I have a question.
yes, questions.
Why are you showing us this contraption if it is broken, if we don't have what it takes to make it work?
If there are pieces or any tiers that you know of,
The only ones we know of, we used, we destroyed, we burned to take down a mountain.
well, in your travels or anything, then
Now I want to do insight.
Okay. I mean, insight.
11. Fuck. Okay.
Hard to read. That seems genuine.
Side.
It's not about him lying. I wanted
Okay.
to know if this is an obsession for him. Like if it's almost like an addiction for him to finish this. As in, my theory right now is that maybe he also has something talking to him, telling him to do things, telling him to finish this. And that would scare the shit out of me. So I'm just curious.
Then roll
Probably
with
not
advantage.
with an 11, but okay. Ah, 11 again. Wonderful.
fate.
I
Doubles.
Mhm.
That means that's super crit, right?
think doubles. That's 4 ones. That means. So as you sort of think, he's not ever mentioned this, and it hasn't
know.
ever been apparent on your travels about how this device or void magic, necessarily whether he was hiding it, probably for good reason, whatever reason that may be. I guess that is something that comes out to you. He was
Yeah.
hiding this.
He didn't bring it up
never
at
brought-
all.
he never brought
wasn't
this
ever
stuff
like,
up.
hey, if we go there, I've got some research that can help you. He just, and even now, he was
I
like,
think-
come with me into
Yeah.
this thing. And then,
And
you know,
Jet and I are both artificers and
Yeah.
know about artificing things. I'm wondering
Yeah.
if this is all some sort
no,
of...
I still trust him,
plan.
and I've always trusted him, but I trust, I understand the call of magic and the call for power, I think. And if I've learned anything in the last 3 months, it's that maybe there's a reason why they didn't want this being taught. Not because it's bad, but because they don't understand enough to keep people from becoming addicted to it. Which I know might be propaganda from the God King, because that's kind of what he used to say about the Spellkin.
Yeah.
That, you know, we can't help ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
But, and as much as it kills me to say maybe there is an ounce of truth in what he taught us, I have been trying to come to terms with that in the last little bit.
Yeah, I think I really like this argument. I think with I think there is an ounce of truth, but I think there also is a little bit of an obsession. I do
Yeah.
also think that he did tell you about the paragons before.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Sykes has told you about the paragons, and he told you about void magic. He did also warn you about the paragons.
Yes. Which I guess.
Which either could be him
Which
projecting a warning onto him, onto
or
you.
it could be like, be careful because I'm currently enthralled to one, or be careful because they've spoken to me and I've told them no. Like all of this stuff is
Right. So I think that could also be
geez.
that
Okay.
could be what's playing in your mind. Whether or not you have any
Mhm.
answers, it's hard to say.
Yeah, of course. Okay, thank you. Either
But-
way, I think I'm starting to get uncomfortable, and I think
Cool.
this is probably the first time I would be uncomfortable around Sykes. And I'm only saying that because I think Ty would know that,
Yeah.
because he knows how I feel sometimes.
But
I've always been uncomfortable around Sykes. Or
Yeah.
not uncomfortable, but like, it's not even untrustworthiness. I just kind of didn't vibe.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Just not vibing with him.
and truth be told, if I wouldn't be in a better spot with figuring out the device and figuring out, of course, how the void works if I didn't have masters of their craft here to help me.
And looking at both you, Smith, and Jet.
I can't lie, I'm extremely interested about this device, but the fact that, from what you said, no one has successfully completed a journey using this device, being some sort of guinea pig.
Entirely true. There is the potentiality that this has worked, just not as intended.
Well, that's the bit that we actually care about.
Right. Yes.
If it works and we end up inside a rock,
Mm-hmm. The
that would
large
be
bird.
bad. Or underwater.
Right.
All of these are problems.
Yes.
What's it made out of? Geoloon, I guess.
Geoloon?
Yes. Like, could we use an alternative? Is there something else? Could I power it, potentially?
I've never tried something like that. I don't think it would be. The fact being that the geoloon tears break and shatter and turn to dust every time makes me worried of anyone's safety if they were to try to.
Miss Vasha, remember we used 2 to turn a mountain to dust, so I would hate to think what one person would turn into in its stead.
Yeah, but I know how to breathe. Right? If void magic is before you inhale and Spellwind is inhaling in the air that you breathe, maybe the difference between, the geoloon and somebody doing it themselves is that we actually we're not a rock. We won't
That
break.
same-
We'll bend.
That same logic is why I'm so apprehensive. It goes against everything I was learned and everything I was taught with how to do what I do. The absence of what I do is simply absence. It's tantamount to heresy almost. I'm having a hard time putting my head around it.
Oh, and I understand. I mean, you're not the first person to say that stuff. I understand. And I respect it. I just usually would.
All I'm saying is I don't understand it. And I fear for what might happen if things were to go wrong, because this is beyond my understanding.
Yeah.
But
Surely there's
yet
a
again-
conduit or something that we can use that will bend and will move or will breathe instead of stone that can't, right? And then maybe we wouldn't be destroying your geoloon. Maybe you could reuse it. Maybe you just need a bridge. Maybe you just need a rib cage.
To do
Or
the
I
breathing.
guess, yeah. I mean, I guess that technically would be the rib cage.
Yes.
You would
I
just
mean,
need
it's-
a force to summon it.
It sounds to me as if you just want a vacuum. I could make a vacuum for you. Whether or
that's
not that would
kind
help.
of
Mm-hmm.
what it would be, right? You'd be summoning either the Spellwind. You could maybe potentially summon the Spellwind, knowing that the void would also be there, right? Because they're intrinsically connected. Is that how it works?
Correct.
Right. So then all you would, in theory, need is something that would then consume the Spellwind, leaving only the void.
Yes.
I can consume Spellwind.
Don't know if it's
It's a thought, anyway.
a great thought.
It doesn't matter anyway. Even if you were
Even if
being
yes,
used in place of this, then you would just be left here.
yes, otherwise I would do it.
Okay.
I could try it, but no. Something has ever happened before. Either way, it's what if you wanted, we could do some more research
Now,
and we could.
here's a
figure
question.
Yes, and here's an answer.
Here's a question. How many of these tiers are left on this device?
There was 2 missing. I believe one.
And how many are left?
No, left on it. 6.
Yes. 6. I wonder if it's possible that each time one of these tiers are used, that it is the equivalent of a certain amount of power. If that is the case, there's a potential chance you might be able to siphon the power partially from several tiers at once. In that way, it wouldn't destroy a tier after each use.
I like the way you think. I knew it. I knew this was a good idea, having you all arrive here. Wonderful. Jet, your thoughts? Yes?
Whatever Mr. Smith says, I'm sure it's bound to work.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well,
So you need a way to pull the power from each of these tiers simultaneously, and then let's see here, this device, I'm guessing the power is channeled through this.
this
Okay,
is all very good. I'm in. Yes.
I'm just kind of walking along the device, by the way.
Yeah.
It's like I'm tracing my thoughts in the process of what I imagine the order of operations that the device works.
Yeah, I think as we see Smith start to like pace and start to get interested and start to figure out the potential of harnessing and maybe redrawing some of the power from, or whatever it may be, from some of these crystals and what that can do. I think we also see, and we start to pull away as we start to flanking them on both sides. It's more of this view of this sort of empty chamber, this large stone donut that has like this conical point towards the end. It goes into a darkness as this rusted, dusted old astrolabe begins to orbit every time I think Brother Sykes drags his hands across or pulls one of the orbs. It just sort of slides in that like grungy, gross something is stuck in the track sound as we start to pull away, and we end the episode here. And that's episode 45 are we on? I don't actually know.
I think it's 46.
46.
Yes.
Yeah, as we sort of discover and sort of play around in Flaris Academy and see what happens. I was really enjoyed today's episode. We sort of discussed like, what are we going to sort of do today? And that was not what I thought would happen. So thank you everybody for offering what you did to get us to sort of that point. I think I had something that I wanted to like, I did want Sykes to show you something, but I didn't know when that was ever going to be. And I didn't really know what it was going to be until
you described a half embedded Dyson sphere in the wall. What the fuck?
Like a
I'm so excited. Sorry.
No, you're good. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and also I've also really been excited to try to somehow figure out how to explain and utilize magic in a quantum physics type way. But that was whatever episode this is.
I feel like you've done that a bunch.
Old
though,
habits,
with
high
this
heart.
series.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah.
There's been like
what's
a
his
lot
name
of
has done
quantum magic moments.
that. Yeah,
Even the
really
storm.
enjoy
The
it.
storm seemed like
The
that.
storm, yeah. So there is like this, and it's this unspoken form of magic that for some reason, which maybe we'll uncover or we'll discover together, has been sort of redacted from a lot of the teachings and education and the curriculum of Flaris. So. But that's it. That was our episode today. We're gonna go around and talk and stuff like we usually do. Do our shout outs and decompress a bit. Let's start with Smith today, who's also Wacksteven.
Hi, everybody. I'm Smith, aka Wacksteven, and I, that was fun. Smith is actually a giant nerd, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but when Myth said we were going to have 3 months go by, I initially was a little panicked. And then I thought, okay, well, this is actually a cool opportunity to kind of like have our characters be different when they're on screen for the first time, having changed a little bit. And I had no idea what anybody else was going to do. And Wack, I love the idea that Smith is basically in school for the first time and embracing all of that and fucking
He's always
nerding
been
out.
a giant nerd.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
It was
cool.
just utilized in a way that
It was
would make him
utilized
feel
as a
guilty
weapon.
or
Yeah.
Yep. So
Weaponized school.
Yeah.
it's I mean, you know, he studied his own armor, he studied Selray's notes, you know, he's very interested. He's always been very interested in learning.
Yeah.
So this place is kind of like, you know, his ideal kind of setup. And learning about this device and everything is kind of exactly his shit. You know, regardless of the reason. You know, he just kind of wants to learn as much as he can because it might help him understand who he is. And where to go from here.
Dude.
And
Wonderful.
It makes sense. And also, like, me and you got to touch on it last week before the other two, I think, because we were in last week's episode before it was a flash side forward back. Never. I don't know. But he also mentioned that he was kind of doing good by Selray in a way, you know, like it.
Yeah.
So it feels like he gives him a little bit of purpose. And then on top of it, Smith gets that natural exploration of something he wants to do. And then on top of that, me and Wack kind of, I don't know if we discussed this before or after or just naturally did it, but I feel like we said something like Ty and Smith have softened towards each other, like the barbs and the edges. They kind of already were doing that coming down out of the previous month that they were together or whatever. But they immediately had a conversation relatively casually about something quite important. you know, which
Yeah.
is not
Yeah.
something that Smith and Ty would have done, which was a thing that me and Wack were thinking about last week about that 3 months.
Considering Ty almost killed
Yeah.
Smith episode 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's been quite
And-
the change.
And also
And,
Marsha, just shooting her in the stomach.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
yeah, that whole like change in Smith is really interesting, I think, to look at.
And narratively, it was so cool that last week you're like, what, you going to be a farmer? And then this week they're like, a grandmaster, and you need to be able to teach. And I was like, dude, flash forward when all this is over. If there was an epilogue, hopefully Smith would just be teaching. Oh my God, it'd be so good.
Be the teacher that everyone would hate
No, okay,
Yeah.
so bad.
no, I
But
already
you
know.
would
Learn
actually
so much
learn.
from. Yeah, you'd
Yes.
learn so
I
much from
know.
them. Yeah.
He would be my biology teacher in
Yeah.
the 8th grade. Oh my,
Yeah.
nobody liked, but I loved him, and he had a great sense of, like, I remember this one time he was talking about cell division, and he draws this big circle on the board, and he's like, let's say you have a cell of a pregnant woman, and then he does just a tiny head and arm around this big circle, because you're expecting him to draw a cell, right?
Yeah.
Oh God, I was crying. I was
That's
crying
really
with
cool.
laughter, and I look around the room, and
And everyone was
nobody
like-
else is laughing, and I'm like, you're all
Everybody's
idiots.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
so good. Anyway, I loved him.
Yeah, so the whole Flaris thing is weird and different for him, but he's extremely interested in the whole thing.
Yeah.
And
I am concerned everyone's going to get kicked out of Flaris, by the way, for doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a very
me
Harry
too.
Potter
For
moment
Ty
right now.
Yeah, me
At
too.
all. Like, Ty is not bothered. Ty wants to get kicked
Can't
out.
wait to
of the
get kicked
idea.
out of here.
Yeah.
I think probably in the 3 months, Ty has considered doing some mad shit to get kicked out.
Yeah.
Be like, what are you gonna do? You gotta fucking
Well-
remove me, old man. But you know, you wouldn't want to
In our
compromise everyone else.
defense, we don't really, I mean, we know meta, but they didn't really tell us, did they?
they didn't say
just-
that you couldn't do this.
Yeah, I think
They
we
just
asked at the
don't
very
bring it
beginning,
up.
you know, like, did they say never go there? And the court was like, no.
It
No.
wasn't advertised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, you know, they might just give us detention for a month. Who knows?
All right,
Yeah,
you
that'll
fully
go
grown
over
adults.
really well.
Uh-huh.
It'll go over super
Except for you,
well.
Jet, you're an adult.
Anyway, I'm here, obviously here on Spellwind, but I'm also running a show called 100 Club on Mondays, and my new show was just announced, and we had a teaser for that, and I totally forgot to give it to you today. Man.
Hey,
God damn it.
perfect. That's right. Just
but
everybody pretend that I dropped a teaser.
But I posted it on YouTube. It's also on the Twitter as well. It was up earlier today. So go check that out because I think people are going to go pretty apeshit. If you don't know anything about it yet, you might go apeshit. So check that out. Yeah, and thank you so much for being here. Make sure you're following everybody here. Make sure you're supporting Myth over on patreon.com/Spellwind and all the wonderful work that he puts in for this. A lot of the stuff that's been done in like private sessions and things has made its way into our games. So that's something really cool that you can do. Check that out and come hang out on the Discord, tablestory.tv/Discord.
Hell
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you, Wack. Thanks for Smith today. It was super cool to see the growth and what 3 months would have done, and also to see him sort of come out of his shell, dare I say. Myre?
Hi.
Hi.
Speaking of
Hi,
somebody
my
who
name is
went
Myre.
into a show. Jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name is Myre. Played Jet today. It was interesting kind of being, Jet and Smith have a lot of parallels. They're both artificers. They're both, inquisitively minded and that kind of thing. But I do think that there was definitely kind of like a difference in like their approach to like how things happened and how things are happening right now within the academy, especially with this whole thing now with void magic and the way it's been described. Because the entire time I've RP'd Jet, it's always been about how he uses his breath, like how there is a Spellwind,
Yes.
but how the alchemists have always kind of like utilized their own devices and breathing and all that to try and
Infuse whatever they're
yeah.
crafting. Yeah.
exactly almost this element of life through breathing into their magic. And like in like a pseudo druidic kind of way.
Yeah.
And to hear that there's void magic, and it's like everything you know about magic is now wrong, or like is now has this like counter to it, is kind of like he's not gonna like just straight up go no, but he's like, whoa, okay, hold
it's
on
a
a
lot.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's not necessarily saying that everything he knows is like, you know, completely like wrong, because obviously his magic works, but it's like it's
But
almost
there's
as
an
if
added
like
element to it.
yeah, this
like-
is almost like, you know, if there's heaven there's hell kind of deal. So it's like is
Or
this
is
the
it just
path?
different dimensions?
I think
And
it's-
I mean like not
yeah.
dimensions, but I mean like 3D, 4D, 5D.
Right,
And the way that
yeah.
you
Yeah.
perceive that
Yeah.
in a magical
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Yeah. I
It's all
don't know exactly
possible.
how Jet perceives the dichotomy of like, you know, this form of magic and what he does, or if he thinks like, you know, like it's like, you know, black and white, if it's like, you know, good or
Right.
evil and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think with how the rest of the grounds have treated Brother Sykes, it does kind of seem, you know, like to teeter on the edge of this is
Yeah.
probably bad what we're doing right now, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been interesting just to kind of like you know, sit back pretty much and like just listen to like what's going on and how the other characters are taking in what they're being taught right now from this guy, who has been largely quiet for the most part, unless he's throwing down tentacle. So like yeah, I'm
That's the other thing. He saved my life as well that
Right.
one time. So I don't know. He's weird.
And you saved
He's weird, but he might,
Yeah.
he still might have ulterior motives as to why he did the thing.
Oh,
but
totally,
like,
totally.
But at the same time, it'd be cool if Varsha was to learn, you know, like void magic, and then she became like the yang to like, you know, Jet's yin, and they could like
Yeah.
make spells together or something weird like that. I don't know. Anyway,
think
that's
that would
me.
be
But how
really
about
cool.
Brad?
All right, Brad.
You gotta go over to twitch.tv/Myre, where he will be playing probably roleplay based games.
Cost
I don't know.
simulator.
I have been
He'll be
off the
playing
planet for
COVID
4
recovery.
days, so I don't know. And
Me
yeah,
too.
Yeah, he said COVID. He has been streaming.
You want to see what a man is like after COVID? Subscribe to twitch.tv/Myre.
The remnants.
The remnant husk. Speaking of a remnant husk, hi.
There it is.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I also do remnant husk things on my own channel. Playing Assassin's
That's a
Creed
great
games at
Twitch
the moment.
name.
Dude,
It
yeah.
really is so much better than mine. I hate being BradWOTO. I hate it so much. I didn't
There
name
you go,
myself.
do
It's
it.
so annoying.
Remnant Husk.
I almost rebranded everything like 4 years ago and was like, yeah, I should do that just in case like I'd go full time on Twitch one day, you know. Ha. Never did it, and now it's too late. It's just so stupid and a completely random ramble. Yeah, this one was interesting. I really didn't know how to approach this today, because I know that there's some things that we were supposed to discuss. Like before last week, even there was the how does Ty potentially say goodbye and what does Ty do? I think a lot of people were like, what's he doing? Is he going to leave? Is he retiring the character and shit like that? And there was all of this conversation that was up in the air, and obviously it's been like literally about a month because we had a couple of weeks off and then we had the flash sideways and stuff like that. And so a lot of that was like jiggling around in my brain over the last couple of weeks, like how is that conversation going to go? And we still really
Yep.
haven't had it, because we've actually been presented with this, you know, option N that we weren't expecting to fucking come out of nowhere. Like we're like, oh, we were planning for A, B, C, D,
Yes,
and then
there's
there's
that one for you.
option Y, there's option
Yeah.
N, and we were like, oh, we gotta what the, and so now there's these other options that are coming through, which I think was one thing that I didn't expect, because it seemed like there was already so much like to deal with, and
Yeah.
now we've got some more stuff, which is amazing. Yeah, so before today. And before today's session, while I was, you know, coherent, because I've been insane for a few days, don't worry about it. But I was thinking, like, I think Ty would actually, again, like we touched on with Smith, like, he would probably be a lot more open to these guys, even though he fucking bitterly hates being in this place, and it's just kind of triggering, I think, for him and his weird childhood. I also explored Ty in 2 dimensions, or 3 dimensions maybe, where I see all the things that are triggering him out, but he doesn't know them.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know he's triggered out by his weird abusive uncle who like forced him to learn magic, and
Yeah.
Ty didn't want to because underneath that layer was Ty's trauma that the
Yeah.
Spellwind killed his family, you know,
Yeah.
so he
Yeah.
doesn't like it on these levels. And as much as he would probably have made quite a good mage, he never gave to it. So he only has a couple of spells. And this place, I think, even though it's the nice version, this would have been, if Lorcan had brought Ty
Exposure
here,
therapy.
Yeah, it would have
he
been
would have
great.
he would have grown up and been a great
Yeah.
wizard or sorcerer or something, and then they would have been able to maybe bring him into the Entente as a thing that way. But instead, he was forced into Lorcan was like, you need to learn magic, you know, and he
You need
was
to be
like,
like me. We need to fight. We need to fight them.
yeah, and
like
then
what?
Tyre was just so resistant to it that eventually Lorcan just went, fine, don't learn magic, you teach him what to do, and handed him over to a bunch of fucking murderers and thieves and shit. And, you know, so that's kind of how I see Tyre and how his experience here is, which sucks because Brad, want to be like, fuck it, I want to learn a bunch of spells. I want another level. I'm a level below everyone now. I want to fucking just learn shit in this thing and give myself to the magic side of stuff. I fucking love magic and things. You know, it in a way, it sucks playing a fighter sometimes, even though I have a couple of spells, because as the levels go on in D&D, I find spellcasters to be much more enjoyable to play, just in general.
Right.
I'm really enjoying
Wacky
playing
shit
Tide, to be
happens.
honest.
Yeah.
But just as a fucking general vibe for D&D, I think that there's just so much more you can do with utility and stuff. So it's killing me because I'm like, Ty would fucking want to be out of this place so bad. He's nowhere near explored anything enough in his own brain to figure out how to get over any of this shit and enjoy the experience here or learn from it or utilize it. He just wants to leave. So it's just like this whole thing. And so but then again, like I said, the way that we approached today's episode, having Ty just be very open with the other three was, I think, a thing that I wanted to demonstrate, that 3-month gap, even though Ty has again softened to everyone. I actually think he's probably over the last few months had some pretty just normal down-to-earth conversations with everyone.
Yeah.
And while Sykes definitely was correct to say that you're a man of few words, I think with these three, they probably have had quite a lot of meals together now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they probably have dinner together most nights. They probably sit down and relax. And, you know, there's not every day they're not going to be training with spells. Maybe a couple of nights, you know, Ty was out there showing
would assume,
Jet how to
yeah.
fire bows, and you know, Jet was like, check this weird drink
This
out.
one,
And Ty was
you
like,
want
"Oh,
you want
that
to learn
tastes
this from these
Yeah.
guys? Watch this, and you shoot
nice." So
them.
you would naturally just be closer to the people over 3 months if you're in that environment. Plus, they've been through so much together, and Ty really does sort of, in his way, love and feel very close to these people. And he's experienced his own, like, what is it called? It's not perdition.
Renaissance?
No, but it is an R word.
Yeah.
No, it's an emancipation almost is what it is. It's like an emancipation
yes,
from
yeah.
the life that he
Relapse.
lived. This is the first time. This is the first time he has just been like, he said fuck you to Lorcan, and I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to follow her vibe. So I'm glad that we were able to kind of demonstrate that in the beginning. I know that was a very long-winded way to say it, but also we've all been thinking about this shit for like a month.
Crazy.
And also it wasn't the way I was expecting it to go.
Yeah, me neither.
But I'm really glad that
Yeah.
it kind of did. I think it seems really logical now that we're at the end of it. That it
Yeah.
would go
Yeah.
this way.
That
Yeah.
it would,
Yeah, it's
Could've
sort of
gone
things
no
start
other
to
way.
fall into place narratively to, okay, this sort of answers some questions about Sykes and Players Academy, and which is kind of cool.
Like,
and
there's so many more questions. I mean, I spent the whole time thinking about it through, because everyone got to be enjoying the magic and Dyson Sphere thing.
Yeah.
And well, some part of me was queuing in on that. The Thai part of me was going, does the fucking Godking know about this? Is this what he wants? If he doesn't know about it, if he does find out about it with folk, is he a fucking student of the academy that left? You know, like, who knows what the fuck is going on? But I think Ty was very focused on that. He's like, maybe they shut this shit down because they were like, it's better that we'd never explore this magic because the world is fucking already, you know, fucked enough because of this guy. You know, don't give this guy more nukes or whatever. So that was kind of Ty's perspective, and but he's just kind of going with the flow, I think, a little bit. Anyway, that's me. I'm BradWOTO. I play Assassin's Creed. I'm an Assassin's Creed streamer full time.
Oranges.
Oranges. I'm playing Assassin's
No
Creed
one's gonna know.
Oranges right now.
World of the Oranges.
I thought I was going to play that game for one day, and I'm actually like, you know what? Actually, this
It's
one's
really
kind of
great.
more fun. I should have listened to everyone. But We'll
You
see.
heard
By
it
the
here
end of
first.
tomorrow, I might hate it. I
And
don't know.
probably only.
And the only time that'll ever happen. Clip it.
Yeah.
Tune in next Spellwind
Clip
to
it.
find out whether I'm playing something else by next week.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
PB's turn.
Thank you, Brad.
Oh.
Thank you for Ty. PB.
Yes, hi, I'm Pumpkinberry. I played Varsha for you today. I am also here on Tuesdays where I GM Kingmakers, another weird magic quantum show, which is awesome. And yeah, I was very scared for today's episode because, like Brad said, we've kind of had this idea that 3 months has gone by kind of sitting with us. And I also honestly felt the pressure of, PB not wanting Ty to leave, but also maybe Varsha might be the only one able to stop him from leaving, and also knowing that she might not try or be able to. And I was just worried that I was going to cause a character exit because I had to commit to my character. But if anybody would forgive me for that, it would be Brad. So, but anyway, yeah, I really loved today's episode. I think I love that this kind of was a gift given to Smith and Varsha that I wasn't expecting, because originally thinking, 3 months here, there's no way. Varsha's super impatient. All she's gonna be thinking about is all the towns that are being steamrolled by the Godking while she sits here and in class,
Right.
but then knowing that time moves quicker here than it does there, and thinking about how she kind of, I feel like, has probably mellowed a bit, and I imagine that the magic feels slightly different here, probably more peaceful. Yeah, and I feel like she's kind of just a second skin almost, and has this idea that, okay, well, the Spellwind has always guided me and I just didn't know it. So it's going to continue to do so. And when things pop up, I'm just not going to worry about it. It'll happen or it won't happen. And I kind of like that for her. I wasn't expecting that for her at all, which is very cool and very exciting. And also seeing Smith get so nerdy about this project was very, very cool. Yeah, anyway, that's it. That's all. What do I do? Nothing. That's it. Thank you. Sorry, your turn.
I will say, Myre,
Sorry.
I think it's very important that everyone wear really strangely patterned clothes and garments when Ty dies.
Wow. Wow.
Wack asked me for a joke at the beginning of the stream. It took me 3 hours.
Okay. And you and Myre disconnected from
Yeah,
the
I better
call because
leave
of
as
that.
well, huh?
Yeah, it's probably true. Thank you so much, Brad, for that. And PB, thank you so much for Varsha. And perfect. I am Mythematic.
My favorite.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I'm Mythematic. I roleplay on my channel. You can follow me or not and stuff. Follow me, patreon.com/Spellwind. There's tons of things you could see on my twitter.com/Mythematic. Follow me and stuff. I do a bunch of stuff. I just ordered a bunch of tech for my forge, so hopefully we'll see more blacksmithing streams, because that has been super fun for me, and I have a lot of things I want to get done out there, and I just never find the time to do it. So hopefully you could all hold me accountable, and with this new tech coming in, I'll be able to do it. So